"Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel." She was standing in my closet, wearing my hoodie, my socks, and holding her phone, texting someone with that smirk she reserves for secrets, not jokes, secrets. I was on the floor trying to find the charger she keeps borrowing and losing. She didn't see me looking up. He just gets me," she typed, thumbs flying. I froze. I didn't say anything, just sat there in the dark corner of the closet like a rejected Roomba. She caught me a second later, eyes widening, not out of guilt, but like I'd interrupted something sacred. "Oh my God, Everett," she said with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "You scared me." "Who gets you?" I asked, voice barely a whisper. She didn't even blink. "Fate, from work. You've met him, right?" I hadn't. Not even once. "We're just friends," she added, as if that made everything okay. Then she walked out like she hadn't just knocked over the last fragile thing I had left inside me. The next day, I made pancakes. She didn't eat them. Said she was too busy scrolling. She was on the couch for 3 hours posting inspirational quotes about independence and strength while wrapped in a blanket I paid for. Then came the moment, the one I can't stop replaying. "Can you pay my credit card bill this month?" she asked, not looking up. "I splurged on a few things, but I'll pay you back." I looked at her, really looked. The new shoes, the nails, the mystery perfume that didn't smell like anything she owned before. All of it whispered his name. I said calmly, "As a friend, I can only help you find a job." She blinked like I'd spoken in another language. "What?" "I thought we were just friends," I said. "And I'm the kind of friend who supports job hunting, not shopping sprees." Her face dropped like the Wi-Fi had cut mid-scroll. She didn't laugh this time. She didn't say a word. And for the first time in a long time, neither did I. The silence after I told her I could only help her find a job lingered longer than it should have. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just sat there like someone had pulled the plug on her confidence. But I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel strong. I felt pathetic. Like a man who finally said one clever thing after years of swallowing words he should have screamed. The next morning, she didn't make coffee. That was her ritual. I always woke up to the scent of hazelnut creamer and the sound of her humming some old Taylor Swift song she'd never admit to liking. But that day, nothing. Just the cold metallic hum of silence and a half-made bed. She was already gone when I stumbled into the kitchen. No note, no message, not even the usual, "Be back later. Love you." My stomach turned. I checked her location. Yeah, I still had access, and it showed she was near a place called Indigo Bloom Spa. Funny, I'd suggested a couple's massage there last winter. She'd laughed in my face and said it was a waste of money. Now she was going solo. By 2 p.m., she still hadn't answered my texts. That's when the doorbell rang. I opened it, expecting a package. Instead, it was Tate. Tate. He was taller than I imagined. Hair perfect, teeth glowing, voice syrupy. He smiled like he was about to pitch me a vacation package. "Hey, man. She left her charger at work. Said she needed it today, but wasn't answering." So, my hand tightened on the doorknob. "You just show up at married women's houses now?" I asked, not blinking. He laughed awkwardly. "Dude, it's not like that. We're just friends." "Yeah, I know." There was this moment where neither of us said a word. He looked uncomfortable. I looked like a man standing on the last inch of a crumbling ledge. I took the charger, slammed the door, locked it. Deadbolt, too. Then I sat down on the floor, still holding it, and stared at the wall for a solid hour. When she got home that night, she looked exhausted. Spruced up, but emotionally worn. I handed her the charger and said nothing. She took it quietly and walked to the bedroom. A minute later, I heard her crying. But they weren't the kind of tears you cry for someone you love. They were the kind you cry when your plan hits turbulence. And I realized something awful. She wasn't mourning us. She was mourning the collapse of her plan B. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how she cried, but not for me. I wish it had been the kind of cry where someone realizes what they're about to lose. Instead, it sounded like frustration, like something important was slipping through her fingers, and I was just the collateral damage. At around 2 a.m., I quietly got up, walked into the living room, and sat on the couch in the dark. I couldn't stand lying next to her anymore. I felt like I was spooning betrayal. Her purse was still on the coffee table. She never zips it up all the way. And for once, I wasn't too polite to look inside. I know how it sounds, but I needed truth more than I needed to keep my dignity intact. Inside, I found a folded envelope, handwritten, no stamp, no return address. Just can't wait till it's real, in blue ink. I opened it, hands trembling. It was a handwritten note, sloppy, rushed. Just to hold out a little longer. He's almost out. I'm ready when you are. Yours, T. I just sat there rereading it, my throat tightening until I could barely swallow. Almost out. That was me. They were waiting for me to give up or better leave. Or maybe she was building the narrative that I was unstable, so when I broke down, she could slide right into her next life clean. At dawn, she walked into the room wrapped in a blanket, acting like everything was normal. "Why are you up?" she asked with fake concern. I held up the note without a word. Her mouth opened, then closed. Then she sat down across from me, legs crossed, not even trying to look shocked. "You went through my stuff," she said softly. That was her defense. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just whispered, "You've been planning this." She didn't deny it. Instead, she looked out the window and muttered, "I didn't think you'd actually read it." I was no longer in a marriage. I was in a slow-motion eviction from my own life. And suddenly, the phrase, "We're just friends," sounded like the sickest kind of joke. Not just about the other man, but about me. Because I'd been treated like nothing more than a placeholder in a life she was already halfway out of. I didn't sleep that night either. After she admitted she'd been planning her exit with Tate, I just sat on the couch staring into nothing. Her footsteps creaked across the floor once or twice. Maybe she peeked in to see if I'd exploded yet. I hadn't. I was still frozen in the same position, holding the note like it was a scalpel left in me on purpose. The next morning, I didn't pack a bag. I just walked out with my wallet and keys. She didn't ask where I was going, didn't stop me, didn't even pretend to care. But I heard her lock the door behind me. I drove without a destination. I called my brother, but his voicemail was full. I tried a motel, but even that felt too permanent for someone in free fall. I parked at a grocery store and sat in the lot for 2 hours, watching strangers walk in and out of normal lives, holding flowers, kids, receipts, actual direction. I had none of that. Finally, I went back. I don't know why. Maybe I thought she'd be waiting. Maybe a part of me wanted her to cry again, but this time for the right reason. Instead, when I tried to open the door, my key didn't work. She'd changed the locks. My heart sank. I rang the doorbell once, twice. No answer. Then I got a text. "You said we're just friends, right? Friends don't get keys." I don't remember how long I stood there. I remember the wind picked up. I remember a neighbor walking past with his dog, pretending not to notice me standing like an idiot on my own porch. Eventually, I walked around the side of the house, sat down on the back steps, and opened my phone. My bank app had a notification. She had just paid for a weekend getaway. 2 tickets, same spa as last week. I knew who the second ticket was for. She didn't want to leave me cleanly. She wanted to erase me quietly, neatly, as if I was just a bad habit. She finally had the discipline to quit. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just sat there, arms around my knees, realizing something much worse than betrayal. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was moving on without even checking if I survived. After sitting on those cold back steps for what felt like forever, I walked away from the house I once called mine. I didn't slam the gate. I didn't yell. I didn't even cry. I just left like a man who finally realized he was never part of the future being built inside those walls. I stayed the night in my car again. The next morning, I remembered I still had access to our shared cloud drive. It wasn't out of malice. I just wanted to grab some tax documents. That's when I saw a new folder labeled Final Plans. My stomach dropped. Inside were PDFs, legal documents, budget spreadsheets, travel itineraries, and a file called After Everett. I opened it. It was a typed document like she was writing a pitch deck for her new life. Bullet points and all, goals post-divorce, full control of joint account, relocate with Tate, see Airbnb booking, change health insurance, block Everett if unstable, therapy records optional. Make copies. There was even a checklist. A checklist. I was listed like a canceled subscription, like she was decluttering me from her life using a Marie Kondo strategy. What gutted me most wasn't that she had planned the exit. It was how coldly organized it all was. She hadn't cried in the closet. She had calculated. She hadn't asked me to pay her bills out of need. She did it to drain me before disappearing. I scrolled down and saw notes labeled talk track if confronted. There were suggested phrases she had typed out to manipulate me. You're imagining things again. You've always been too sensitive. This is why we don't work. It hit me then. She had planned not just to leave, but to discredit me in advance so that when I inevitably fell apart, no one would believe it was her fault. That folder changed something in me. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was erased, preemptively rewritten in her story as a fragile, forgettable man. And the worst part, I had played that role for years, without question. Not anymore. After I read through every line of that cold, calculated document she named after Everett, I stopped feeling like a victim. I wasn't angry yet. I was hollow, like she had already dug out the version of me she didn't need anymore, and left the shell behind to pay bills and ask, "Is everything okay?" I didn't even go back to the car that night. I sat in a diner off Route 9 with stale coffee and a stale realization. She never planned to fight. She just planned for me to disappear, quietly. At sunrise, I went home, or rather to what used to be home. The front door was still locked, my keys still useless. But I had the garage code, and she forgot to disable that. I stepped inside like a thief in my own life. She was still asleep, curtains drawn, her phone charging on the nightstand beside a half-finished glass of wine and an open tab with destination wedding packages on it. I didn't yell, I didn't touch her. I just walked through the house and started collecting the things she forgot to include on her spreadsheet. Not the TV, not the furniture. No, I took the photo albums, the letters I wrote her in the first year, the birthday card she kept because they meant something, the art we picked out in Vermont, the handmade clay mug she gave me when she still believed in us. And then I found something I wasn't supposed to. In the hallway drawer, beneath unpaid bills and expired coupons, was a second phone, a burner. It buzzed once as I picked it up. A message from Tate. "We're still on for the 18th. I'll be waiting at the lake." She had made sure her clean escape wasn't just emotional, it was digital too. 2 lives. One she lived in front of me, and one she built without me. I left everything on the counter except the box of personal things and that burner phone. I didn't take money. I didn't take revenge. I just left a sticky note on the fridge that read, "Tell your friend the 18th is canceled. He'll understand why soon enough." Then I walked out. No door slam, no dramatic music, but she must have heard it when she woke up. The silence that follows when a man stops begging to be kept. She called me the next morning like nothing had happened. Her voice had that rehearsed sweetness like a customer service rep trying to sound sincere. She said, "Ever, can we please talk? I think we both overreacted." Overreacted? I read her plan to erase me. Found her second phone, saw a text from her affair partner planning a romantic weekend, and got locked out of my own house. And now she wanted to call it an overreaction, but I agreed to meet. Not because I believed her, I just needed to see how far she'd go to pretend nothing happened. We met at a neutral cafe, somewhere she thought she could stay composed. She wore sunglasses indoors, like she was hiding from daylight, or maybe just from the truth. She sipped her latte and said, "I know things got messy, but we can figure this out as friends." That word again. I leaned forward, calm. "You locked me out. You lied for months. You wrote out how you'd spend my money after I was gone, like I was a bump in your schedule." She blinked. "You weren't supposed to find that." "Oh," I said with a bitter smile. "So I ruined the surprise." Just then, the door to the cafe opened. Tate walked in. Not coincidentally, not by accident. She had invited him. He spotted her, waved, then hesitated when he saw me. I stood up slowly, not to fight him. I'm not that guy, but because I needed to look him in the eye when I said what came next. "You still on for the 18th? I asked him. He froze. "What?" "She canceled it," I said. "But she didn't tell you, huh?" Her face went pale. Then I pulled something out of my jacket pocket. Not a weapon, not a threat, just her second phone, the one she thought I didn't have. Tate looked at it, then at her. "You said you deleted everything," he muttered. Her hand started shaking. I turned to leave. "Oh, and Tate," I added over my shoulder. "Next time you plan to replace a husband, make sure you're not just filling a temporary role." As I walked out, I heard her start to cry. But this time, it wasn't strategic. This time, she knew the script had flipped, and I wasn't playing my part anymore. After that scene in the cafe, I didn't go back. Not to her, not to the house, not to the version of me that would have once begged for answers, for closure, for one more chance. That ever was gone. Quietly, permanently, I stayed with my cousin for a few days. Just enough time to file paperwork, close joint accounts, and transfer what little I had left to a new account under only my name. She didn't call again, not once. But I heard from a mutual friend that Tate ghosted her 2 days later. Apparently, he didn't know he was just a piece of a strategy, not the prize. He was never in love with her. He was in love with how she made him feel by trashing me. I could have gone petty. I could have posted the messages, the spreadsheets, the burner phone contents. But something strange happened instead. I moved on. At first, it was weird. Eating dinner without waiting for her to get home. Not second-guessing every purchase, not flinching every time I heard her ringtone. But then something even stranger happened. I started smiling again. One morning, I went for a walk just around the block. No destination, but I noticed colors I hadn't seen in years. A kid's chalk drawing on the sidewalk. A neighbor's wind chime. A bakery I didn't know opened. Life had been happening all around me while I was stuck being someone's silent support beam. Now I was building something for myself. I'm not saying everything's perfect, but it's real and it's mine. No spreadsheets, no fake smiles. No, we're just friends, Lies. Just freedom. One messy healing day at a time. So, if you're sitting where I was wondering if walking away means losing, let me tell you what I found. Myself. Finally. What a moment in this story shocked you most? Was it the burner phone, the cafe ambush, or her After Everett folder? Let us know in the comments. We read everyone. Thanks for watching Reddit Confessions. If you've ever had to rebuild after betrayal, your story might help someone else heal.